Hello, I'm Tank0102, or just Tank for short. This is the first of my Tank's Tips videos. This video covers signing up and how to make your character one that you won't hate later. 3 big things to remember about your character: your name and portrait are your first impression in EVE, and your portrait can be changed, but your name cannot. So signing up is pretty easy. Pop in your email address. This is the 14-day trial setup here. You can do 14 days under any circumstance, or if you get somebody to do a buddy invite, if you already know somebody who plays, you get 21 days free. So you plug in your username. This is unique to you. No one else knows it. It's not displayed to other players. Pop in a password. If you don't have the game already, you'll have to download the client. Once the client's downloaded, this is the startup screen. You'll pop in your username and password that you had just put in. Agree to the terms. I'm currently running EVE in Windows mode. This is not the default. The default is full screen, but it's an easy adjustment. There are 4 factions in EVE, which one you pick has minimal impact on your long-term game experience, but will have an effect on what your character looks like and what clothing is available to him. The Amarr are primary armor lasers, and they now use some drones. The Gallant are hybrid and drones. They are primarily armor as well. They're one of the easier races to get attractive looking tunes. The Minmatar are kind of the punk characters or tunes of EVE. They fly shield, variety of missile, and projectile. Caldari are primarily missile and shield, although they do also use hybrid, and they are one of the easiest, in my opinion, for character creation. So for this tutorial, I will be doing a female Caldari pod pilot. And the reason I picked a female was because if you can do a female and have it come out looking half decent, a male is 1,000 times easier. So as you see here, I've been pushing the random button, and I didn't like the next random, so I went back to the first one. It could be a good place to start, especially if you're new to the game. There's a button here to remove all the clothing. You have your weight and muscularity. Usually in the middle is going to be your less dramatic, obviously, and you'll tend to want to stick in that unless you're going for a dramatically skinny or overweight looking character. You can click and drag to make body parts larger. Pretty simple stuff if you've ever used a character creator before. You can zoom into the face or go to full. Different skin tones. You can do freckles, aging, and scarring. Usually on females you won't do any aging or scarring, but you may do some freckles. You can change the way the face is shaped. Like right there I just did the lips. There I dropped the jaw in a little bit. Just the nose. You can also do eyebrows, ears, pretty much everything, cheeks. Eyes are pretty easy to manipulate. They have a bunch of different haircuts, and you can also change the hair color. The base color will be the roots and the eyebrows, also the facial hair if you are playing a male character. This is a pretty good haircut here, but I want to do one that'll illustrate the root difference. So like you see here, now you're seeing the difference in the color of the roots. Alright, makeup. There's eyeshadow, eyeliner, blush, and lipstick. Doing some eyeshadow here. Lots of different colors to choose from. You got a drag bar to decide the transparency. Same thing with the eyeliner, but you're more limited on the colors. Don't really screw with the blush all that much, but you can play around with it. A few different styles of lipstick, different colors. Same thing with the transparency, and they also have gloss for the lipstick. Going to the clothes, I usually cancel out the outer layer right off the bat. You can add it in later, but you'll want to get your base done first generally. Caldari has, in my opinion, one of the best varieties of clothing, especially for the females. I'm going to do something relatively simple here. One thing you can do with the legs that I didn't is you can change how they're tucked into the boots, but nobody sees it in your portrait, so it's not a huge deal, but you can play around with it. So the clothing's done. Onto the head. You can do tattoos, piercing, and scars, so I'm going to toy around with those a little bit. Got a tattoo on the cheek. Again, like the makeup, you can change the transparency. The piercings are, you pick it and that's what you get. There's no modifying it. Several different scars. You can only pick one, but if you're looking for a more scarred look, as you saw before in the complexion, you can just add general scarring and it'll kind of throw scars all over the face. So now that I've got the character that I want, I got to take a picture of them. So there's a ton of backgrounds that you can pick from. I'm just going to keep it simple. Then you've got poses. Just go with this one for the purposes of this. When you're working with this, it's going to be just right clicks and left clicks to modify your character, position, angle, that kind of stuff. Get something that you kind of like. Then you can play around with lighting. They got color, different angles. I'm just going to mess around with the color right now. See, and then it's got all the different effects. And then you can crank up the intensity or decrease it, basically how bright the light is. Then you can take snapshot. You can take up to 4. So there I took the first snapshot, modified it, took another one, modified it some more, took another one, and then I can go back and compare and contrast. It'll return the character to how it was when I took the snapshot. There's kind of a half body shot. When you do that, the actual portrait that players see, they won't even be able to make you out. So then you gotta pick your ancestry and your education. These aren't really important factors, although your education will decide what starting station you start in. This is probably the most important part, your name. Right there I typed in I suck bad. Names like that might seem funny at first, or the new, whatever number is after it. But long term, you cannot change your name in EVE, so you're going to have to live with that your entire time playing this character. So, more generic is generally better, or unless you're really into something and you think you're going to be into it for a long time, then feel free. Now, I typed in Alice Smith, not available. You can also randomize your last name, it wasn't available. You can add a space in a middle name, though, if you're just looking for a generic name, and it'll almost always be available. So that sums up the character creation process, and thanks for watching.